Hey everyone, Andrew here. So you have a shiny new Laravel application and you want to get it deployed. In this video, I'm going to go through 5 of the cheapest and easiest to use ways that I've found to host your next project. Just a heads up, I haven't been paid to promote any of these. All of this is my genuine opinion from services that I've actually used before. Starting off with the most basic option, you have shared hosting. There's tons of different sites, all with their own plans, pricing, features, dashboards, etc. Most will run you a couple of dollars per month and include a management dashboard like cPanel to configure your options. After purchasing the plan, we can go into cPanel and create a new FTP user. And use that to get into our shared hosting account. By default, most of the time our website's root will be set to this public HTML folder and can't be configured. But Laravel's root folder is the public folder, so we have a few options to work with that. We can just drag everything over into this top level directory and then just rename the public folder as public HTML. Or if you want a cleaner option, we can add everything into a folder called Laravel, and then follow a few steps to point your application to the public HTML directory outside of this folder. If you want to do this method, I'll link this repo with instructions in the video description. But I'm going to take the first option and just add everything into this top level folder. This took a little while, but our site is now deployed. We can visit it in the browser and perfect. Let's go ahead and try to log in, and we're getting an error back. It seems that even though we renamed our public folder public HTML, Laravel's core code still expects the folder to be named public, so we'll have to make some small adjustments to our app. Opening up the source code, let's go to the app service provider class, and we'll have to add a couple lines to this register method. The first one creates a bind to our app's service container, modifying the value that path public is resolved to. And the second calls a method in the main application class to set the public directory to a new path. And we're going to provide it with a new value, the base path of our application, plus public_HTML, the same as above. I'm using both of these to cover all my bases. In the example application that I was using, only the bottom one really fixed it, but your results might differ. Okay, so now let's save that file and upload it to our server, overwriting the old one. Now if we visit our site again, the error is gone and we're able to log in. Our application is working just as expected, deployed on basic shared hosting. Okay, what if we wanted something with a bit more control? The next step up would be a cheap VM, something like a DigitalOcean Droplet for about $5 a month. We can start from scratch with it, or use one of the marketplace installs, which will set up a boilerplate for us instantly. We can use one for a LEMP stack, or I found this one that is specific for installing Laravel applications. We'll wait for our box to come online, and now that it's up, we can open up a terminal and just rsync our files that make up our application to it. And again, visiting the domain in our browser, we can see our site. We can log in and view our posts. So everything is working as expected. Now let's say that you don't want to manage any hardware at all, have everything serverless. Well, we can use Amazon Lambda and a library called Bref that enables serverless PHP and integrates directly with Laravel. The good news is that if you stick with the free tier, you don't have any hosting costs. But if you get out of it, things can scale up in price if you're not too careful. To get started, we first have to install the serverless framework on our host machine and set it up with our Amazon account. I've already done that step, so I'm going to skip that in this video. Now we just have to require the Bref library in our Laravel application using Composer. And optionally publish this configuration file so that we can make any changes that we want to the plugin. But honestly, that's it. It's ready to go out of the box. We just have to clear the config cache as a suggestion, and then we can use serverless deploy to bundle up our application and deploy it out to AWS Lambda. It took a few minutes, but here we are at the end of that with a domain that's been provided to us. And visiting it in the browser, we can see our app is working as expected, and the response time is actually pretty great. The downside with this method though is that it's stateless, meaning that you'll have to have an external database running somewhere in order to save and persist your models. So I'm using SQLite with this app, and the database presents itself as read-only. It can't be edited after being deployed. So for production deployments, I'd recommend getting something like Amazon RDS set up, and then have a production env file to use it as the database. Alright, if you want to have the power of serverless, but don't want to manage Amazon yourself, you can use the first-party Laravel Vapor service. It also has a generous free tier letting you try out the service fully before you commit to a monthly fee, but this doesn't include any charges from Amazon since it acts as a high-level wrapper for AWS services. You can manage your application through a tasteful dashboard and connect your source code through GitHub so it'll automatically deploy whenever you push up a change to your main branch. We can also manage databases, caches, domains right in the same dashboard, which is a huge plus. Let's go ahead and create a new project, and we'll give it a basic name. Next it's asking us to install the required library for our application and the global command line tool, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, that finished up. Now all we need to do is ensure that we are authenticated with the Vapor Terminal app. And finally, run Vapor deploy in our environment, which is production. After a few minutes, our application has been deployed, and we can check it out in the browser and verify that everything is working as expected. We can also go into the Vapor dashboard and see our application's health and metrics, and get any information we need to about the environments and services that are running alongside it. It's a pretty seamless experience. Finally, the last option that I'm going to show off is Fly.io. Fly is a containerized hosting service that comes with a slick command line tool that makes it super easy to deploy applications like Laravel apps. Their pricing is also transparent, and they do have some free allowances, but it can be hard to figure out the exact pricing when you're first signing up. I found that a Laravel app running on their second smallest CPU costs about $3 a month, which I haven't had any issues with. Anyway, to get started, you'll have to install the flyctl tool on your OS, and then from your project root, just run fly launch. This will walk you through deployment settings for your application, and once you're ready to get your project out there, all you need to do is run fly deploy. Within a few minutes, our application is packaged up and then put on a live domain for us to check out and use. So here we are in the browser, and again, everything is working just as expected. We can go into the Fly dashboard and keep track of the projects, deployments, and usage that are associated with our account. And like Vapor, we can go in and see metrics for our particular services that are launched, environments, server health, and so on. And that's about it for this video. Those were 5 services which make it easy and cheap to deploy and host your Laravel applications. As always, if you have any questions about this or any other web development topics, please feel free to reach out to me in the comments or on my Twitter linked below. Thanks for watching.